Let's hit the lawn, drop it. You know, we've been doing that for about a decade. I just realized that today, okay? Power panel, Cenk, Uygur, John, Iadarola, Francesca, Fiorentini. All right, everyone's here. Look, Damage Report is here, Young Turks is here, Bituation and Twitchuation room is here. There's so many rooms here, no one has any idea where to go in, but that's okay, stay with us. We're gonna tell you all about it. There's rooms, there's reports, there's Turks, it's wild, okay? And I like to refer to this as the all-Mediterranean version of TYT, the Italian, the Turk, and the half-Italian. Although John's really half-Italian too.
That's also true.
Okay.
We basically make one good Italian, basically, between us.
So, all right, lots of fun ahead for you guys. And food for thought trivia today. You better be paying attention, because we got a trivia question, the bonus episode where it's raining $100 gift cards from Blue Apron, okay?
Nice.
So $100, that's real, man. All right, anyways, we'll have fun with that. John.
I keep hoping to win. But anyway, let's jump into the news. We are less than 1 week until the big primary. Henry Cuellar, who you're seeing there, going up against primary challenger Jessica Cisneros. And I'm not saying that they're getting desperate, but I am saying that some of the recent advertising targeting Jessica Cisneros certainly seems desperate, and it certainly seems dirty. Take a look at this billboard that's up in Laredo, Texas. It says a lot of things, but one of them is basically that Jessica Cisneros is a home wrecker. A home wrecker. And just to make sure that you saw it, they put it twice on the one billboard, implying that she's gonna do all of these things. She wants to get rid of the police, the firefighters, and the border patrol. She wants to increase crime. I must have missed that advertisement. I didn't see the thing where she advocated for more crime. She wants to raise taxes. Some of that might actually be true, depending on how wealthy you are in Laredo, Texas. And she wants to eliminate oil field jobs. So she's defunding everything, and she's also coming to break up your home. Now, Henry Cuellar said in a statement that he, quote, does not condone the billboard. I'm running an issues-based campaign focused on delivering for the people of South Texas and or Azerbaijan. So he's focused on the substance there, not on these slanderous attacks. But the interesting thing is, there's actually kind of a link between him and the group that put up this billboard. So
no, really?
I know it's weird, they're not supposed to coordinate, but like sometimes they do. So on that billboard, you could see a line that says it wasn't authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. It was paid for by Big River Media. Now, Big River Media spent over $5,000 back on May 13th in support of Cuellar. Cuellar's campaign has hired this company, Big River Media, in the past. They paid $1,500 for advertising back in 2020, but that was a totally different race where he was running against, Jessica Cisneros. It was the only campaign disbursement to Big River Media listed in federal records as of Wednesday. So it's not just that he has a connection to them, it's that they basically only have connections to him. So the entire thing seems a little bit transparent and a whole lot dirty.
Yeah, so you're gonna see in a second why Big River cares so much about Cuellar and why they're bothering to spend money, in essence, bribing Cuellar. You're gonna be shocked to find out, unless you watch TYT, that you know exactly what's coming. They got a good return on investment. So we'll give you the details on that and how their bribery worked in the past. So that billboard is in essence saying to you, Jessica Cisneros is not corrupt. God damn it. Okay, so understand what it's actually saying. But of course, a lot of people don't know that. They're not knee deep in politics. They just drive by, they see this, and unfortunately it'll work for some people, right? And so that's why they run these kind of dirty ads. First, is Cuellar involved in this? I mean, look, they bothered to say, now this is not coming from a candidate. I guarantee it's because they talked to him and he said, bothered to write it. You don't normally have to write that, right? So they went over the top. Now, if you want to denounce it, it's really not coming from Cuellar. I mean, I ran a political campaign. If something was outrageous was said about my opponent, I didn't want it. I'd say that's crazy. That's not at all true. And I got nothing to do with that. I don't want anything to do with that. And in fact, I denounced it wholeheartedly. In fact, I won't even work with those guys from now on, right? Those are ways where you can go, okay, he really doesn't mean it, right? Here where he's like, golly gee, I don't know what that's about. I suppose I denounce it, isn't it? Means, yeah, you were super happy to have this smear against your opponent. Now, it's always either right wing or honestly, I think corporate candidates do it more than the right wing candidates do. Like corporate Democrats and corporate Republicans smear their opponents more than anyone by an order of magnitude, okay? And so like the right wing candidates will say crazy things about Jewish space lasers and stuff, and dark MAGA and all these weirdo things, but they don't, I haven't seen too much of this. Like they'll do weird anti-Semitic stuff, but corporate guys are the ones that are perfect. That like they're like smear, lie about someone, run a dirty campaign about their personal life, etc. Oh, they jump right in it, right? And so, but one of my questions is, other than how much money are they making off that river? I mean, we've covered big drug companies, we've covered big money, big food, we cover big sugar all the time in Florida, right? But Big River, I hadn't heard that one before. So Big River is coming after Cisneros. Okay, but my actual main question is, hey, can I start lying about Cuellar? So there's no rules left? Because we have a PAC, Rebellion PAC. Can we put up a billboard saying that Cuellar, same exact thing, Cuellar is a homewrecker for all the men he slept with, and their wives are disconsolate. So can I put that up? I don't know. I mean, I guess PACs are allowed to lie about anything, and they're allowed to smear opponents completely. But I guarantee you, if Rebellion PAC ran that ad, there'd be nothing but like, wow, all of a sudden national media would notice.
Right.
Not just Fox News, but like MSNBC, everybody would catch feelings like, you can't say that about our beloved Cuellar. This absolutely outrageous billboard goes up. I don't know, I haven't seen a thing on it in cable news. I'm shocked we even found one article about it. So, all right.
It's funny on a number of levels. Obviously, I know there's something specific behind it. They're alleging that she like slept with a married man, blah, 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 blah. And I honestly do not care. Sounds like a consensual relationship. If it even was one, it is their personal business. But like the billboard just says homewrecker, and then, which is on its face value without even mentioning details, is basically just sexist. Oh, here's this like floozy of a candidate, happens to be a woman, she's a homewrecker, and then has a defund police, defund ICE. Gee, last time I checked, ICE was tearing apart families, children, ripping them from the arms of their parents and locking them in cages and then not knowing where they are, not returning them. Who is a bigger homewrecker, ICE or whatever they're claiming Jessica Cisneros did? It's super sexist, it's a lie, and also it reminds me of some of the similar tactics actually that were honestly used against Katie Hill, let's be real, which seemed to stem from her ex-husband who had it out for her.
Yeah, but in that case, at least there was, it turned out that she had slept with staffers. Here, I don't even want to talk about anything with it, whether it's might be or not connected to some shred of reality, because it forced you to play defense. That's why, look, if we're gonna do this, then let's get Rebellion PAC a lot more money. This billboard costs about $5,000. We could do that, right? Now that we're out of time because election's on Tuesday. By the way, we're covering it here. You should definitely check that out. It's gonna be a doozy. But yeah, we could do $5,000, $6,000. Our audience could raise that in a couple of minutes to do one homewrecker. How many married men has Henry Cuellar slept with? Maybe the answer is zero. I don't know, but we're just asking the question. Then he'll have to play defense, going, no, the number's really low. Oh, okay, right? As long as we're playing dirty politics, okay. Why is it that you can only play dirty politics against progressives? Why is that allowed and nothing else is allowed?
Well, and to be clear, in this case, as Francesca was saying, we are interpreting that is what they're playing into, that New York Post article. But again, it doesn't mention anything about that on the billboard. It is trying to play a game where they would say, well, we just mean that she's like hurting families, so she's a homewrecker. They don't say anything about any infidelity or sleeping around or anything like that, which means that if we can say, well, Henry Cuellar is going to hurt the economics of an average family, he's a homewrecker. Now, it isn't as strong of an attack against him because the reason they're using homewrecker is because of the misogynistic connotation, the indisputable misogynistic connotation. But you can just label with like this incendiary label and just say, oh, it has something to do with policy sort of or something.
Yeah, well look, two can play at that game super easily, right? Like I didn't say that Cuellar had sex with those married men. I just asked how many did he sleep with? I don't know, I'm just asking questions. And I didn't say sex, you said sex. What kind of a dirty mind does Cuellar have? I mean, what did you do with those men? I don't know, I was just asking questions. Look, anybody can play these games. By the way, New York Post is a hatchet media operation that's a right wing run by Murdoch, the same guy who owns Fox News. So it's super easy to put out like a BS story in a right wing publication and then have an ad refer to it and trick people.
But why would the right wing have a dog in the fight of this Democratic primary?
Yeah, that's weird.
Democrat and Democrat, they're the right wing, they're over here on the left.
No, but actually, so that's funny because Cuellar is of course a very conservative Democrat. To Francesca's earlier point, he agrees with ICE in breaking up the families. He agrees with almost everything the Republicans say, but he's posing, in fact, he is anti-choice and he votes that way. He voted to defund Planned Parenthood.
Yes.
It goes on and on. So he's basically a Republican but pretending to be a Democrat to win elections. And by the way, guess who agrees with Rupert Murdoch and these hideous billboard people and all the conservatives that are supporting Cuellar? By the way, he's got tons of Republican money going into his campaign. Nancy Pelosi agrees with them. Nancy Pelosi thinks, bravo, well played. Now, I'm not joking. Look, she didn't sanction the billboard, right? As far as we know. But she's actively supporting and campaigning for Henry Cuellar. She needs another anti-choice vote. She needs another corrupt congressperson. I mean, the guy's under FBI investigation for dealing with Azerbaijani oligarchs. And
yeah, perfect.
Yeah, Pelosi called and said, you have their number?
No, and it goes to show also, and this is what I hate, and the bad faith arguments that are always waged against progressives, is that whenever we criticize someone like Nancy Pelosi or someone like Kirsten Sinema or all these centrist Dems who've been letting us down, or even a group like Emily's List, right, that needs to do a lot better when it comes to supporting actual working class candidates, and really only is very myopic in who they support. We are always called the sexist. We are always called out. Oh, you're not a real feminist. You're not supporting other women in your party. So it's triple layered, right? It's not just you're not supporting other Democrats. Oh, you don't like unity. It's you're not being a real feminist. You're not actually supporting other people. Well, excuse me, Nancy Pelosi, what do you have to say about this homewrecker billboard that is completely lying about one of the candidates that's in the Democratic race, who happens to be progressive, a young, also Latino woman?
Yeah.
Where are we at with that? You're not hearing any of that. And yet Bernie Sanders raises a hand as he's speaking passionately. Oh, that's sexism against Hillary Clinton. Wow. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, but by the way, so there's two more components of that, and then we got to get to the money. So, people, if Rebellion PAC actually did that billboard asking how many men married men to be specific, has Cuellar slept with, I guarantee you, people on the left, people in the middle, certainly mainstream media would say, oh, it's homophobic and how dare you? Well, but this is clearly misogynistic.
I would say that.
Yeah, and nobody gives a damn, right? So wait, what? Again, why did they get to play dirty? And I'm not being homophobic. I don't care how many married men Henry Cuellar slept with. I don't care if the number's 85. That's his personal life. I care that he's a whore for corporate PACs. That matters. That matters in your life. If whatever he does with his own sex life, I don't care if it's the numbers 13 or 87 or 3 married men that he slept with. I don't care at all because I'm not homophobic. Okay,
but he's a sex worker for corporate PACs.
Yes, sorry.
Sex worker for corporate
PACs. That's offensive. Sex worker.
No. But I just like saying that. I think that's really funny.
No, I know.
I like how you're incepting Henry Cuellar sleeping with married men, though. I like how that's where this entire segment is going.
Yeah, well, I don't know. People are asking questions. People are putting up billboards. By the way, it's not just billboards. They're also sending text messages, and text messages clearly say that she, quote, no integrity for knowingly sleeping with a married man. So this is not just implications. This is very, very clear, very dirty, etc. And so I want to read you graphic 5 because here comes the money. In a May 2nd Facebook post, Cuellar announced that he'd helped land a $3 million grant for the Mission Economic Development Corporation to aid Killiam's real estate firm. That's the guy who runs Big River. In developing a 175-acre business park in South Texas. The congressman posted pictures of himself at the groundbreaking. He did not post pictures of him in bed with Killiam. Now, politically, they are in bed together. And so you see Cuellar got like a little over 5,000 in this time around. He got the billboard, all the independent spending. Last time around, I think they'd given him $20,000 or $30,000. So overall, though, they funneled what, around $50,000 or so to him. He gave them back $3 million, free in a grant. That's legalized bribery. So that's why they're smearing Jessica Cisneros. It has nothing to do with her positions. It has to do with the fact that this guy thinks, oh, Cuellar's my bitch. So I tell him to go do something and he gives me a free $3 million. Well, of course I'm gonna put in $50,000 to get back $3 million because our system is insane. It 100% legalized bribery. And that's why Cuellar was probably surprised to be raided by the FBI. He's like, oh, what, I can't do that with Azerbaijanis? I do that with Americans all the time. Go talk to my friend Killiam. By the way, Killiam, also huge, you're not gonna be surprised by this either if you're a TYT viewer, but if you're a mainstream media reporter, you're like, really? Also a huge supporter of Republicans in Texas, like Greg Abbott and all the obnoxious, awful Republicans in Texas. Because he doesn't care who he bribes, whether it's called a Democrat or a Republican. He just cares about the money, Lebowski. So this is obvious. As always, anyone that can see the actual facts will tell you exactly why they're running this billboard. But mainstream media reporters are like, huh? What? Huh? Money in politics? That affects elections? And they do it so they can get more money back? I never heard of it. No, I'm not gonna report on that.
Exactly. Yeah, the same exact reporters who for like a year and a half in the pandemic said that someone getting like a one-time check is enough to stop them from ever wanting to work again, seems to understand that money can influence people, doesn't believe that all of this campaign financing would ever change a distinguished gentleman in the Senate or the House's position on anything. Anyway.
Jessica Cisneros for Congress.com. Before we leave the story, Jessica Cisneros for Congress.com, because she's not taking corporate PAC money. She doesn't sell out to donors or sleep with them like Cuellar does, or potentially. I don't know what sleeping means. Okay, but Jessica's, the reason why they're trying to smear her is because she's honest and clean. Jessica Cisneros for Congress.com. Elections on Tuesday, and my God, if you live down in El Paso or you're in that district, make sure you go vote. It is monumentally important that the bad guys don't win.
Yeah. I just wanted to read her last statement just to make sure that she gets to respond to this. She said, my opponent and his supporters are so desperate to hold on to power that they have resorted to bullying me in hopes that they'll be able to win. I'm here to say that I will not be intimidated. And hopefully they have some good counter advertising in this last week. The race was super close. She lost, or she was down on him in the initial election that led to the runoff by 2.1% of the vote. So it is going to be a very tight vote. Definitely tune in to TYT Tuesday night. Cenk, myself, and Dr. Rashad Ritchie will be doing the primary coverage.
Rock and roll.
And with that, why don't we take our first break?
TYT, Cenk, John, and Francesca with you guys. Also, Marissa Bescript, because Marissa's an American hero. She just joined. She hit the join button below on YouTube. It's right underneath the video. It's so convenient. Good thinking on YouTube's part. Although on your phones, you got to scroll down just a tiny bit more. All right, everybody else, tyt.com/join to become a hero. And by the way, I have a chance at Blue Apron Food for Thought Trivia, $100 gift card. No joke, true gift card. You don't have to put your credit card info in. And I'm gonna ask her a quick question about that because it's important. Alice Murphy asked the super chat, if you won the Blue Apron gift card once, can you still play? So that one's unfortunately no, okay? I don't know if that's gonna change later in life, but for now, you could only win it once, and we're still working on fixing it for Facebook and Twitch members. But if you're a YouTube member or a TYT member, you could definitely participate today. It's in the bonus episode, but you do have to be a member, tyt.com/join. And if you're a member, especially on YouTube, make sure you go to tyt.com/food. Just take about 5 seconds to make sure you qualify, okay? You do, you just have to check off some things or something like that. What do I know? What do I run the company? All right, more news, John.
There is. Before we jump into this, I will say that we're gonna be showing videos of AOC discussing topics involving sexual assault, so consider yourself warned. With that said, let's jump into this video.
It's so traumatizing when something like that happens, but I at least felt so much gratitude in that time of uncertainty that even though I didn't know what had happened or what was going to happen, I at least felt like I could have had a choice in what would happen moving forward. And whether my values and whether my personal perspective led me to carry a pregnancy or not is no one else's business but my own. And it could have been my choice.
That is Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez in Instagram Live yesterday talking about in the aftermath of this incredibly tragic, horrific experience, at least knowing that in a country that at that point at least cared about people's reproductive rights, she had a choice that if she needed to get an abortion, she could. Now, the situation is changing rapidly. We're waiting for the SCOTUS decision on Roe v. Wade to come out. And so she is able to connect with people who might be affected by this based on her own experience. And we wanna give you a little bit more of what she had to say, so let's roll that video.
After you experience something that traumatizing, if you're a person that menstruates, your cycle, and this happened to me, your cycle can be really, really thrown off because of the trauma and the stress of being assaulted. You may miss a cycle. You may not even be pregnant. I remember when that happened, the horror that I had felt, and I felt really alone. For context, I grew up in a very religious household. That is why these choices are very deeply personal, and that's why it is a choice for every person. But I remember in the moment after what happened, I was just so horrified. What I do remember in that moment, I had felt like no matter what had happened, I at least had a choice in what happened to my life after a choice was taken away from me. That's the point, is that your future and your life can belong to you.
And so look, for a long time, we've said that Representative Ocasio-Cortez has a very strong skill at being able to connect with people, understanding how politics actually affects people's lives. And I mean, I think that the contrast couldn't be more significant, that you have all of these people on the right, on either cable news or on the political side, 90% of whom are men, who don't seem to know about any of this, care even less than they know. And a lot of people are very nervous in states across the country, many of which, and we'll get into the numbers in a little bit, face the potential for reproductive rights to vanish in a second if the decision comes out. They're very scared and they're looking for people who seem to care. The Democrats have not done a great job since the leak on the 3rd in reassuring people that they take this seriously, but I think that videos like that can help.
Yeah, the one thing I'll say is that the Democrats have done a good job overall in telling their personal stories, led by a lot of progressives. And here I'll give Pramila Jayapal credit too. And I think it normalizes these choices that people are making. And I think that you shouldn't underestimate how important that is, because I saw the polling on, for example, when we were fighting for gay marriage to be legal. If you knew someone in your personal life who was gay, I don't remember the exact numbers now, but the number, your tolerance for gay marriage and gay rights overall went up by a stunning number. I forget, it was a 30, 40, 50 points, right? If you think you don't know any gay people, you're like, who cares? Take away their rights. No way on marriage, man, between them. Your cousin is, your brother is, your sister is. All of a sudden, you're like, oh no, okay, yeah, that's somebody I can relate to, right? And so people sharing their stories and people go, oh, okay, maybe, because my whole life, guys, abortion has been painted by both, like not just Republicans, but Democrats playing defense, going, "Oh, it should be really rare. I mean, it's awful, but we should have the choice to do it. Rare, it should be super rare, right?" And by the media as like something horrific, and so. My wife's from Taiwan originally, so I now know. I mean, I already knew a ton of Chinese folks growing up, Chinese Americans. Now I know way more. And so the reason I'm telling you that is because when you talk to people from Asia, abortion is not a moral issue at all. They're completely flummoxed by America. They're like, "Why are you guys think that like knee surgery is evil? I don't get it. Like this is the weirdest thing they've ever seen, right?" And so the reason why we have abortion is like, "Oh my God," it's because the media told us it was, and everybody in politics and media told us all forever, our entire lives, about how bad a decision. I mean, you could make the decision maybe, but it's a really bad decision, right? And so now these women coming out and go, "No, it's not a bad decision," and no, it makes sense under certain circumstances. I think it makes a giant difference.
Absolutely, and you heard Barbara Lee speak about her abortion that she had to get in Mexico because that was the closest and safest place that she could access it back in the day. And so we are headed back to that time of a lot of people crossing the border, especially in states like Texas, to try and seek safe abortions in Mexico. Think about that, right? And we're told, "Oh yeah, everything's backwards down there." No, actually it's not, because there's actually better reproductive care than there is in some places of the United States. I think AOC speaking about it normalizes it, and it seems obviously the fact that she was a victim of sexual assault is hard enough. The fact that then she was unsure of whether she was pregnant, and when you say you miss a cycle, right? You're talking about 8 weeks then, maybe, before you get your period. Now, the bills that are being passed now are saying, "Oh, no, that's already illegal. By week 9 or week 10, when you know you are not pregnant, or even if you do know by then, that's already illegal." So just understanding how soon after, how draconian these bills actually are is incredibly important. And I just wanna say, like, Lucy McBath spoke the other day, a representative from Georgia, I believe, and she also spoke about miscarriages. So this is not just about abortion and normalizing the fact that we don't have to feel bad if you choose to get an abortion, but also it's about reproductive health and women's health care, or anyone with a uterus care in general, which can be a miscarriage, which can be a stillbirth, which can be all the reasons and all the ways that if you actually cared about life, you would ensure that over half the population has access to these basic rights and these basic freedoms.
Yeah, unfortunately, something like half the population might not soon. It's expected that 25 states will basically immediately outlaw abortion when the decision finally comes out. 13 different states already have what are considered trigger bans, so that they just had passed them and just waited, hoping that finally it'll happen and it'll immediately become illegal. Reminder, by the way, that when they spent years and years and years passing all these trigger laws and focusing so intently on it, only to then get the leak and know that they're about to win, they then immediately switched into, "Why is everyone freaking out? Nothing is gonna change. This isn't a big deal. Your life is gonna be all the same." We only did decades and decades and decades of activism, making that like the sole focus of our politics, but nothing will actually change. I wanna remind people, in case they've forgotten, that this is wildly unpopular. If we could jump to the most recent polls, nearly 2 in 3 Americans oppose overturning Roe v. Wade. In fact, more than 1 out of 3 even Republicans do. And by the way, like again, what a reminder that Republicans are so dissimilar from the rest of the population, like nothing like even independents on this issue. And in terms of what effect this might have, the like midterm ramifications of this matter less to me than they do for basically any other political development, because it is such a paltry silver lining considering the stakes of what's actually happening. But that said, right now apparently the Democrats are leading in the what's considered like the generic congressional comparison, like would you vote for a Democrat or a Republican? 47 to 42. That is up 8 points net from what it was a month ago. So other things have changed too. This is not the only political development, but it's a significant one, and it seems like it might make a pretty significant difference.
Yeah, my theory is that Sam Alito is the one that leaked the his own draft of this decision. And so I don't have enough evidence for me to present that as a news story for you guys. That's just my gut, okay? But we've explained why in the past, because he wants to solidify the most extreme version of this decision and wants to make sure that others don't back out of voting yes, or in this case, no to yes to overturning Roe, okay? But politically, it seems to have backfired, right? And that's why even people like Mitch McConnell, etc., were backpedaling as soon as this happened. Ted Cruz talking about, I mean, it's not that important. I mean, I wouldn't even talk about it. That's when you know they're worried to death about it, and that's when you know that they know 70% of the country is actually left wing on this. I would argue 70% of the country is left wing on almost all the policy issues, and I could show it to you in the polling, but definitely on this, and even Ted Cruz and Mitch McConnell know it. So AOC also talked about freedom and liberty, and there's just no question. I mean, you could say, if you're a right winger, you can say, no, we should snatch women's bodies because my religious views on the zygote inside them is more important than their liberty. But you can't say that you're not taking their freedom away. You're definitely taking their freedom away. So please shut your mouth about freedom from now on, because you don't believe it at all. Just wanted to clarify.
And it's our role to reclaim that. It's on the left, and honestly, it's on what I think needs to be a revitalized abortion movement, like freedom of access movement that needs to say the word abortion. And this is from organizers like Liz Winstead, who we've had on the show a lot, who's a homie of TYT, and her organization, Abortion Access Front, is doing trainings, I believe on July 17th. They're gonna be house parties, everyone can throw one. So I just wanna shout out this entire summer of resistance. And it doesn't matter who you are, this is everyone's issue. Everyone can get involved, and even if it is something so seemingly small as escorting somebody into a Planned Parenthood, man, that's not small, that's huge. And so I just wanna caution against despair. No, we're gonna get loud and more militant and more active. And because you're right, these guys are on their back heels. They know it's unpopular. They're not doing victory laps. They're trying to gaslight us about how it's not about freedom. And we all know better.
And lastly, I'll remind everybody every time we do this story, because as we said earlier about talking about abortion makes it feel less wrong, etc. The Bible is massively pro-abortion. It is indisputably pro-abortion. You should read it. It's Numbers 5:11 through 31. God orders the abortion, and the priest executes the abortion if your wife cheated on you. It is a fact. So they don't even have the premise right, that God is definitely in favor of abortions.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, why don't we turn to something related to what we've been talking about, but even more bizarre. Let's jump into this video.
As it is, frankly, inconvenient. Human persons from their earliest days poisoned in the womb and dismembered limb from limb. Bodies thrown in medical waste bins and in places like Washington, D.C., burned to power the lights of the city's homes and streets. Let that image sink in with you for a moment. The next time you turn on the light, think of the incinerators. Think of what we're doing to ourselves so callously and so numbly.
And so dishonestly, because what you just heard, of course, has no basis in fact. That was congressional testimony from Catherine Glenn Foster, who is simultaneously a complete and utter weirdo rando, and also considered an expert in this area. She's a Georgetown law graduate, earns more than $190,000 a year as the president of an anti-choice group who believes that there are wheelbarrows full of aborted fetuses being burned in incinerators throughout DC to provide electricity. That is utter madness, but honestly, we shouldn't be surprised by this. They've spent years on the right convincing people, convincing over 1/3 of Americans that most elite Democrats have a national ring that collects babies to sexually assault and then cannibalize, to eat their faces or wear their faces, whatever madness you want. And if you could convince people that that is true, you could probably convince them that they're powering their lights off of aborted fetuses. It's utter madness. It has no part in any of this, but honestly, it's not even a mistake to take a conversation that should be about people's rights and the effect that stripping away those rights will have on them. But they don't want to have that conversation because, as we've already pointed out, they've lost on that. They've tried to convince people on the topic of abortion for more than 50 years, and they have failed at every step along the way. People don't support their position, so instead, you make the conversation about something utterly mad. And that's what they're doing here. This isn't based on anything. DC's power generation comes from natural gas, coal, and nuclear power plants. And honestly, I hate myself for even listing those facts because we shouldn't have to fact check that they're powering the nation's capital on aborted fetuses. Yes, if you wanted to Google it, you could find out that that is not true. But honestly, if you have to, there's something wrong with you as well.
Yeah, no, I mean, John, you're right, but like, as always, I would go further. Yes, now it's forcing every news organization to fact check that they're not powering the energy grid with dead babies. Cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, total insanity. You don't have to fact check that. That's like saying, okay, I think the earth is powered by Ted Cruz's butt. Well, actually, we've checked with the scientists and it's really the gravity and the moon and the blah, blah, and it turns out it is not. It's and a little bit of Uranus, but not Ted Cruz's anus. Like, we have to fact check this stuff? Are you insane? Look, guys, if you believe that aborted fetuses are powering Washington DC's electric grid, I'm not at all joking. You are crazy, like literally physically crazy.
A danger to yourself and others.
You are, you need to get mental health counseling immediately. I'm not joking at all. You've lost, you're detached from reality, you're in a cult and you need help. This is not, and you can go fact check that, okay? Go around asking people, hey, what do you think, man? What else do they power with aborted fetuses? No, you guys, you're lunatics. That woman you're looking at right there is absolutely out of her mind. I hope she's lying, because if she's not lying, she should be in an insane asylum, quite literally, okay? And you know what? No one responded. She was the star witness for the Republicans. They brought someone from an insane asylum. Oh, I thought you were and then the Democrats like, oh, okay, next witness.
No, Cenk, I saw right-wingers spreading videos of her testimony saying that she destroyed Democratic congresspeople with this testimony.
No, but guys, that's because I'm telling you, a giant percentage of Republicans, and hence a huge percentage of the country, has lost their freaking minds.
Right, and you believe.
I'm sorry, Francesca, one last thing just to prove it. 52% of Republicans, a majority of Republicans, believe that the Democratic Party is led by satanic followers who are leading a pedophile ring. That's a majority of Republicans have lost their goddamn minds. You think that Biden, first of all, couldn't wake up from his nap, let alone worship Satan, let alone the rings and stuff. You think that Biden and Pelosi and Schumer, they get together like, oh, now all hail Satan. If you think that, you're nuts. I can't stand those guys. You watch Young Turks any day, and I'll just rip Biden, Pelosi, and Schumer in 1,000 different ways. But if you think they're doing a child molestation ring and that's their whole purpose, and it's because of Beelzebub, you're in a cult. Go get help.
Yeah, they can't even pass basic legislation in a Congress they control, let alone get it together to hide an entire pedophile ring. Can you imagine? No, it'd be terrible. They would. Then you got Manchin, and he'd be like, "No, we got to do it like this. We got to do it like that." It'd be a whole thing. Yes. They would have a lot of negotiating to do on that. I just want to point out that this is the conclusion of the denialism around climate change and renewable energy. It's like, how can we make everyone hate abortion and renewables? Ooh, I know. Fetuses are renewables. Bing, like I love the consultant that was hired to develop that line, who's just been huffing glue all day. It's incredible. And the reality is, and this is a sad reality, if you cared, if you were actually pro-life, you would know that fossil fuels and contamination and pollution and air quality claims millions of American lives, specifically children's lives. The lack of clean drinking water claims babies' lives. If you claim to care about babies, ergo, we should be weaning off of things like fossil fuels or fracking technology and all that terrible stuff that spews incredible amounts of CO2 into the atmosphere. We should actually be moving to renewables. So, and honestly, if fetuses could power, like if abortions could power anything, it would power like a light bulb for half a second. The amount of abortions that the right imagines people have is so absurd. And the reality is that no, there are not that many abortions happening, but when they need to happen, they damn need to happen.
Exactly.
Yeah, on that note, real quick, 99% of abortions happen before the first 5 months, okay? It's 99%. So the 1%, no, because I tell you that because there's a nonstop lie factory on the right wing. So they make it seem like most abortions happen in what they're calling, and I swear to God, I mean, Ted Cruz, a sitting United States senator, said this: post-birth abortions. That's not even a thing. That doesn't even make sense. But that and the crazy glue huffing consultant that Francesca referred to that came up with the idea that they're powering the electric grid with this. They all do it because their base assumption is that their voters are deeply unintelligent, deeply ignorant, and borderline like mental patients. So when the consultant knows it's not true, and when he says after sniffing his glue, like, hey, what do you think? Mitch McConnell and other Republicans and Donald Trump and whoever else, hey, and I don't know that they're in the room, but whoever they are, right? And they get together and they're like, what do you think? Well, I made up the most outlandish thing I could possibly think of, that they're taking the aborted fetuses and somehow they're powering, and which city should we say? Oh, Washington, because they hate Washington, right? I mean, whatever, and then they all look around and go, yeah, I think our voters are that stupid. Let's give it a shot.
Yep.
And it turns out, based on the reaction to her video clip online, the right wing's like, man, you were right. We are that dumb. That is unbelievable. Go get help. Go to a therapist's office. Break the cult that you're in because you've lost your goddamn mind. Okay.
Yeah, with that, why don't we take our second break? When we come back, we've got some insanity to dive into, including Alex Jones blowing the lid off this story. Men's penises internationally have been shrinking, and he's gonna put a stop to it after this.
All right, back on TYD, Cenk, John, and Francesca with you, and Christopher Bernecker, because Christopher just joined by hitting the join button below the video on YouTube. Christopher, bit of an American hero. There, I said it. Perfect date for it. Food for thought trivia coming up. You could win a $100 gift card to Blue Apron. TYT.com/join. By the way, Jesse Jackson asked in super chat whether Beto would endorse Cisneros or Cuellar. He has not endorsed either. Okay, John.
Exactly, or at the very least, it's not listed on Jessica Cisneros' website.
Trust me, it would be listed.
There's still time, Beto. Come on, buddy.
By the way,
that endorsement in.
Electric Snow wrote in on Twitch, LA is powered by Cenk's triceps. Now we're having a conversation. Okay.
I've noticed more brownouts recently, honestly.
Oh, don't make me take it out. Okay, all right.
Okay, I'm good. Anyway, with that said, that was ridiculous. Let's see if we can one up it in terms of ridiculous with this. Or we can just jump into it, actually.
Does this to humans as well. That's why genitals, I don't care if you're black or white, are a third the size they were of a 1960s male. So the media makes jokes about that a few months ago when I gave the example of, if your daddy's Johnson was a foot long, yours is 6 inches long. And if yours was 6 inches, your son will be 3 inches. And the one with them won't even have a penis. So you make jokes about that all day long, but this isn't a game. And you can say, okay, well, who cares? Well, we're sterilized.
I don't even know where to start, I guess. Look, that's tragic, honestly. If you had fond memories of your daddy's foot-long penis and you're looking down thinking, I got nothing, and you look at your kid, that pathetic kid, he's not gonna bring it. It doesn't matter how puberty, whatever, he's got nothing. That's Alex Jones.
He's just telling on himself. Like, do you realize he's telling on himself not only that he's got a small Johnson, but that he looks at his dad's and maybe his son's kind of a lot.
Oh my God.
Or maybe, look, I understand many people are gonna go there and think that it's personal. It doesn't have to be. Maybe he remembers seeing a bunch of bigger penises decades ago. And now when I go around looking randomly in bathrooms like a creep, I'm not impressed by what I see, maybe. Sure. Now look, I have this need deep inside of me, the same way he has a need to perv on people's penises whenever he has a chance. I have a need to be as fair as possible. And so it is not that there is nothing to this, but before we ruin this segment by diving into the facts, please feel free to weigh in and have fun.
Yes, so first of all, what I got out of the story was the war on math. He's like, it's a third of the size. 12 inches is now 6 inches, 6 inches is now 3 inches. Okay. All right, and then I didn't even think about how he was looking at his dad. So I don't even want to think about that. Okay, so that's an interesting point.
Oh my God.
But there's no question he's been looking at his going, what happened? What happened? It was the Democrats. Okay, if you say so, brother, if you say so. And if it's true, I mean, thanks God. Otherwise, whew, I mean, I don't know.
This is his WAP moment. Like, you know how Shapiro told on himself when he was like, that is a medical condition if you have a WAP. And my wife never, ever, ever in a million years has ever had a like, and then Alex Jones being like, it's too small. You're like, can they stop telling on themselves? Do they know what they're doing?
Yeah, and just because like time is passing and things are changing doesn't mean that it's societal. Like everyone around the world, as I've aged, has gotten heavier and their knees aren't as good and they don't feel like going out as late at night. Like maybe it's just about you. Honestly, like these conservatives, the answer to all of their problems is therapy, but they will go to these great lengths to avoid having to do it. Now, that said, it is not impossible that things could be affecting male organ size or virility or fertility. And so I have been looking into a lot of this different stuff. I made the mistake of initially in looking for supplementary information, I Googled Alex Jones' penis. Bad idea, shouldn't have done that. I did, however, find an interesting montage of all of the times that he defended the size of Donald Trump's penis. It's come up from time to time. The topic, not the penis. So anyway, here are the things that I was able to find. So first of all, easiest answer to this is age. Erections naturally get smaller and less firm as a person ages, according to urologists. One said the penis can lose about a centimeter of length from your rock solid 30s to when you're in your about to retire 60s. The difference, honestly, is minute, and many men may not even notice it. An equally simple explanation is increased body weight can provide the illusion of a smaller penis, so that's something to look into. Now that said, his answer is they're putting something in the water that is simultaneously making the frogs gay and shrinking your Johnson. That's what they're doing. They are doing that. I don't know who, he's not specific. And honestly, I'm afraid to ask because I'm worried in the end he'll say it's Jewish people or something like that. But anyway, that is not to say that there aren't things being put into the water that are having these effects. It's just not necessarily the Rothschilds that are doing it. So Dr. Shanna Swan has been talking about this for some time, talking about chemicals like phthalates, which can over time lower testosterone levels and potentially have an effect on the development of genitals. So phthalates can be found in things like toys, detergents, nail polish, soaps, and more. But the very important thing about those is they're not being added to all of these products by the government to purposefully shrink your junk. They're being added by corporations that are not being properly regulated. And they will continue to add these things to these products until the government steps in and stops them. And so Alex Jones, who's worked himself into a literal frothing rage over this, is getting all of his followers to hate the government over this topic when the government is the only thing that can potentially save them. Because honestly, this is beyond even personal consumer choice at this point. You cannot escape all of these chemicals, the phthalates and the BPA's and all that. It's in the water, it's in everything at this point.
But
and we can potentially
you can buy Alex Jones's juice. This juice will help you grow much longer and better than your daddy. Like, it's all to sell his supplements. I'm
gotta be a better name for that. There's just gotta be. Anyway, by the way, can we jump for a second to the last graphic I have? Because that was actually one of my explanations for why I was talking about this. It says super male vitality, now $52.45. So for $52, and that's a deal. It's a little bit cheaper. You can, I don't know if you ingest that or if you lotion with it, I don't know, but it'll make you even stronger.
Where do you put the tincture? Ooh. Where does it?
I don't want to know.
Okay, so I mean, look, the bottom line is, I want to get to the nuance in a second too, because I think you have to know the actual facts. But basically, Alex Jones is saying here, the Democrats shrunk my penis, and by the way, and the only way that you could fix it, mine or yours, is buying this product of mine. It gives you male vitality for $52. Okay, it's the most obvious snake oil that you've ever seen in your life. Except unless you're a right winger. The reports are from court documents that he did $165 million in sales in 3 years from that snake oil stuff. Not just that potion, but all the junk that he's selling on his thing. And that's part of the whole point of his show, is to scare the bejesus out of people, honestly the most ignorant people in the country, and get them to buy things that don't make any sense at all, because they're worried that their junk is too small. But if they take Alex Jones' stuff, it's gonna grow like you said, like their daddies. Ugh, Jesus Christ.
Weird. It's so weird.
Okay, so now onto the nuance. Look, guys, as John pointed out, there are real toxins that are going into the environment, the water, the air, etc., and they're all being put out by corporations in order to sell things. There's just a great variety of them, and we've reported on them. But so how do you know what's right and what's wrong? Well, a lot of people do studies, right? The actual scientists, and they literally measure things, including testosterone, yes, and including size and all of those things. And then sometimes they'll put together a collection of studies called a meta study, and where it is filled to the rim with facts. And so sometimes those studies will say, hey, the testosterone level has dropped. It's dropped by 25, 33%, etc. They'll have a real number attached to it, right? And then they'll show you the toxins that are the most likely cause. But since it's science, they're not positive, because you need to study it more and more and more until you have overwhelming evidence, because that's how science works. It doesn't work with going, my daddy used to have a bigger junk, what the hell's going on, right? So no, they actually measure these things, and then they tell you the most likely causes. And the number one possibility is deregulation of corporations. Because in the past, the government was supposed to protect you. That's the core job of the government, whether it's the cops, it's the fire department, it's the military, or regulation of corporations. Hey, don't put weird chemicals in the water, because it could affect the testosterone that men are getting. That's a reasonable way to look at this and go, and by the way, just so you're clear, there are no studies that say that the male penis has shrunk by either a third or a half in a generation. None say that, because that's cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, totally made up by Alex Jones.
Yeah.
And there's no correlation also to like levels of testosterone, like sperm efficacy or like whatever, like your ability to reproduce and penis size. That is the same, BS toxic masculinity that Tucker and Alex Jones, they peddle in all the time, and it has no bearing in scientific fact whatsoever. And so yeah, should there be fewer PCBs in terms of like if you're drinking bottled water all the time? Yeah. And that's huge, but we gotta regulate the plastics industry. But of course we can't do that if the government is always the enemy, and if the government secretly has a plan. It's like, actually, there's no plan for corporate corruption, just kind of there, omnipresent.
Yeah, that's the true invisible hand. And he will identify this problem. He'll get it totally wrong in every way, but he'll be onto something, and then he will support politicians that will stop literally any of the regulations that might actually help you. And that's here in the United States. He'll also stop any international coordination that would stop it internationally, because this is a problem beyond just our borders. I do want to really fast thank him though, because just in bringing this up and talking a bit about the phthalates, which we have talked about before on the network and on TDR, it is a reminder that we have this very difficult position where the environment is one of many things that we need to make sure that we cover, that make sure that we focus on. And honestly, over the past few years, because of how high the stakes are in the climate crisis specifically, even I, a person who tries to do a lot of environmental coverage, that has had a very disproportionate amount of my talk about the environment. And it is obviously very significant for our species, for our world, but it isn't the only thing. Look, Francesca, you mentioned air pollution. A new study showed 9 million deaths a year we're up to now, just from regular old air pollution. That's not a carbon specific thing, that's just pollution.
Yeah.
The phthalates and the BPA and all of this, these are all environmental concerns that are not specifically about climate change. All of this at the end of the day is a reminder that we need to be centering and focusing on protecting the environment. And unfortunately, while Alex Jones brought up the topic, he is not gonna be an ally in that, not in any way.
No,
but John,
so go ahead, Francesca.
I was just gonna say, John, you'd get more clicks if you made it about your junk. I'm just gonna be real. You made it about your junk.
Yeah. Last couple of things, I got to build off of what you guys said. So, John, I know why he's not telling you the real reason, which is deregulation of corporations, because it's a false flag operation, or in this case, a false flag poll operation. Because, okay, and the reason is, if you think about it, right? Alex Jones makes money from things that you think will increase your junk, right? So, if the corporations are putting toxins in that affect your testosterone and other things, he would want that to keep happening so you'll buy his junk, right?
Pills. So let's not use the word junk.
Yes, apparently there isn't much to buy there. So I meant his products. And then and by the way, Joe Rogan, you're telling your audience, he just said it the other day, like 3 days ago or something. He's like, no, Alex Jones is right about a lot of things. I mean, you got to give the guy a lot of credit. So I don't know what's going on with Joe and his situation, okay? But you cannot endorse an obvious lunatic unless you want people to think you're a lunatic.
Yeah.
Okay, now, ironically though, I'll say, I've also learned from Alex Jones based on what you guys were just saying, and Francesca said it. So from now on, you know how we sell Too Strong coffee? Too Strong coffee, it'll make you too strong. I mean, come on.
Too strong.
Imagine if we said stuff like that. It'd be so out of character. You'd be like, what? No, you guys do the truth. Yeah. But for Alex Jones' audience, they're like, oh yeah, I bet it does. Yeah. By the way, toostrongcoffee.com/TYT.
The new batch though will of course be Too Long Coffee, but it'll be coming out soon, I suppose.
Get in on it while you still can.
Not a good.
Right,
none of these are good things.
All right.
Okay.
You guys are awesome. Check out Damage Report. Check out Bituation Room in our podcasting network, which is awesome. Twitchuation Room and twitch.tv/TYT. All right, and when we come back, we got tons of amazing stories for you guys, including, is Jeff Bezos going to run for president and in which party? Jerome's. We'll be back. Thanks for listening to the full episode of The Young Turks. Support our work, listen ad-free, access members-only bonus content, and more by subscribing to Apple Podcasts at apple.co/TYT. I'm your host, Cenk Uygur, and I'll see you soon.